What is up, everyone? Welcome to Home Built Workshop. Today we're going to restore this old bench that used to belong to my grandparents. My brother and I rescued this bench from the weeds on my last trip home to Pennsylvania. Since he's a painter, the obvious first step for this restoration was to have it sandblasted and painted a nice gloss black. We used a really nice base coat, clear coat paint system for these parts. Then we packed them all up and dragged them all the way back across the country where we can pick up with this restoration. I'm really glad to get these unwrapped, get this project underway. Now, let's start machining some boards. I'm using rough sawn white oak for this. I'm going to start out by running it through my thickness planer. That went really well. I've got all the pieces cut down to length and width. There's one last piece that I need to cut, and that's the piece that's going to go along this top edge, and that's got to have this rounded profile cut into it. I'm going to assemble the lower portion of this frame before I mark and cut that curved top piece. This way I'll already have hard and fast measurements, and I know nothing's going to change. I'm going to use biscuits to connect these two rails. I'll just add a few clamps to this whole mess to keep it nice and square while that glue dries. Now, I've mentioned these things before, but I really do like a biscuit joiner for a lot of applications. It seems like you don't see them used as much anymore. I think they're being replaced by things like the Domino, which is a really awesome tool, but for the money, you can't beat a biscuit joiner. Link in the description if you need one. So I've let that glue set up a little while. Now I need to get this top piece made. Now I'll flip the back piece over and rest it on top of that frame. Now I'll take the piece that I need to cut, drop that guy into place, and now I can just trace along the top, which will give me the relief of the piece that I need to cut out. So right there's the profile that I need to cut out. I've got the top board held on right now temporarily with some clamps. I'm just checking the fit. Everything looks pretty good. I think I can move ahead now with the biscuits and securing the whole frame. Then I want to do a round over on both the front edge as well as the back edge. I noticed there's a bit of a taper on the edges of this metal piece. They're not exactly 90 degrees, and it actually makes it a little bit tricky to drop this panel in place. So I think by doing a round over, it's going to give me just a little bit of clearance, removing that corner, and help it drop in. So now that I've got the frame all glued up, I need to trim these top edges so that it matches this contour a little bit better. Plus, if I leave these sides this full width, it's not going to fit in the frame of the chair. So I want to make it follow the contour of this insert. The way I'm going to mark that is by scribing a line with a compass, and if I set it at the size that I need it to be, my board at the top is not wide enough. Luckily, the piece that I cut off from the other side will glue right in place. Now I'll drill the mounting holes in the slats that'll make up the seat. Here I'm just rounding over all the edges with a roundover bit. Right now I'm just doing a quick mock-up just so I can mark out these last few bolt holes so that I can get them drilled and then get the finish on this thing. During that mock-up, I discovered one piece that was just a little too big, but that was an easy fix with a circular saw and then rerouting the roundover. For the finish, I'm going to use some satin spar urethane. Now, spar urethane is made for outdoor use, but in my experience I've found that it is not a apply it and forget about it type of finish. It's one that you have to constantly maintain, maybe once a year, once every couple years. Whenever the finish starts to deteriorate, you need to sand it down and reapply it. Being out in the elements is really hard on a lot of finishes. Even those that are designed to be outside still need to be maintained. Now all that's left to do is bolt this thing together. A little tap on those carriage head bolts helps set that square portion of the head so it doesn't turn when you tighten the nuts. I'm using all stainless steel hardware for the assembly. I don't want to have anything rust or corrode. Nice. And that finishes up the bench. Really like the way this thing turned out. Really kind of an easy restoration. Probably the hardest part getting the pieces sandblasted and painted, but that's not absolutely necessary. You could always sand them down and just paint them with some regular paint, any color you want. I definitely am happy to have this thing done. This bench used to sit at my grandparents' house, and I remember it sitting in the yard, and now it's finally back together, usable, and can now carry on its life in our yard. Thanks a lot for tuning into this video, guys. I know I enjoyed this project and I hope you guys did as well. Don't forget, there's a bunch of links in the description for this video you might want to check out. And until next time, thanks a lot for watching.